So you've installed Cakewalk. You got an icon like this, and what we'll do is we'll just click on it and it'll open up like this. What it'll show you is a list of recent projects that you've done, right? And in our case we're going to do a new project. So I've got a new project. I'll do empty project, and now we have our project open. What I'm going to do is switch to in-app recording, so that way we can see what's going to happen.
Hello. Alright, so this is we're going to be using the in-app microphone. So this way I can do my screen capture, I can get my microphone, I can speak, and at the same time we can add in different audio sounds and that. So very first thing what we'll do is what I did, we'll review here, is I added a track. You click on this plus sign here. Then what I did is I was going to do audio, and then from audio I was going to select my microphone. I'm using an ASIO mic. Sometimes you might find that if you use MME, sometimes it'll just say the Creative Labs microphone right off the bat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here, and then I have a choice of inputs. And what I want is the mic in left and mic in right, so that's stereo. I can just have a mic on left or right. And that. If you want to use line in, that could be for a guitar as an input. So we're going to just set that. Once you select it, then you create, and it will create another track. So this is track 1, and if you double click on track 1, you can change the name. So I'll just name it Mike. And what we see down here, now this is a reduced window size. It's not full screen, so everything's a little bit cramped. What I'm going to do is I'll just pull this down a bit here. So that way when we have another track we can see what's going on here. Over here, this is our audio console. This is track 1, and this is our mic. This would be track 2, 3. As we add tracks, this will fill up. On the very end there's going to be a master output. Never touch it. I just use it to monitor what the output is and that. So looking at this, what we have is some controls. Here's our volume, so I can turn it down, and now as I turn it down, my volume disappears. Turn it up, it comes back up again. If you don't have enough gain, what you can do is, I just scrolled up, is that we can increase the gain a bit. And now I have a higher level, right? So sometimes you might have to increase the gain. I'll just leave it where it was. You can do some post EQ here. So if I turn this on, this is the on switch, then I can do some post EQ. So post EQ is after you've done all your effects and everything, and now we get to our effects. So you can add an effect. It'll come with a lot of standards ones. This is called a reverb with Cakewalk. Turn the reverb on, and now we have lots of reverb, and I can turn off the reverb. This is what the reverb looks like. I have it off right now. Let's turn it on. Hello, test. Okay, reverb is on. Now I can play with the controls. I got no level, wet level, I got high level, I can have lots of delay or no delay. I can do some shaping, etc. So I'll just turn this off. Or we can go over here and it'll have presets. We want to use a new preset. This is for 80s percussion, a cappella voice, acoustic. And that's an example of some of the effects that you can do, right? So when I added effects, you can have audio effects, classic phaser, span, chorus, delay, all sorts of ones like this. So it gives you just an idea. I'm going to turn it off. Boom, now we have no effects on it. We can mute a channel by clicking on the mute button. I was muted, you can't hear me. Now if we had a whole bunch of channels, what we can do is go solo, and we can listen to that one channel. And what I've done is that sometimes I'll have 8 tracks going on, and I just want to listen to 3 together to see how they sound. So I would click on solo on 3 of them. And that we can do pan left, now I'm panned left, now I'm panned right. And that gives you a pretty good idea of what we can do with audio. Now we have some other EQ going on this side. So every time you click on a channel, it's going to show up We can do compression. So here's some options that you can. So I just turned on the compression. I'm going to turn it off, and we have our controls for compression, how much we want to do, and the ratio. We also have pre-EQ, so we can do some more EQ before it gets into our mix and to our effects. We have all sorts of controls here. We also have tube distortion we can turn on. So if we had, instead of a microphone, I had a guitar in here, I can do some tube distortion. And then there's S-type, N-type, A-type, which would be drive, and I'm not sure what that does. It's beyond my capability. So that gives you the idea of what we can do with just audio and a mic. All right. Now, as we work with this, one of the things we want to do is look at the different areas. Now, you might have seen this flashing over here. This is the help module. So when I hover over things like the record button, it tells you it's start recording. If I go over here, it's fast forward. So if you ever need any help, you can always look over here, hover over everything. So we basically said this is how we create our tracks. Where are the tracks? The track is right here in this area here. So when we do a record, this is where we're going to record. The controls you use the most is stop, play, pause, and record. These are the four that I use the most. I don't use the rewind and the fast forward very often. Normally I just grab the cursor and move it over. This is showing our timing. So over here is our timing is set for 4/4. You can change that to 3/4 or 5/4, whatever you like. And then it'll change the bar. So this is our first bar. We have 4 whole notes. If we set it for 5/4, this would become 5. So let's just do that. We'll go beats per measure. And now what we see is here's one measure, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats. So we'll just put it back to 4. This is our tempo. Our tempo is set for 120 beats per minute. We can click on it and we can change it to whatever we like. 120 is a good starting place. When we record, what we'll find out is that there will be a metronome, and the metronome will be beating at 120 beats per minute. Very important to use the metronome when you're recording, so that way if someone else is going to add, let's say MIDI, we can sync it up very good. It also keeps the timing consistent throughout the song. So if you're playing keyboards, you have to learn how to play with a metronome, so that way your timing's good. So if someone runs another track and now they're playing bass, they have it, and the same with the drums. Right? Over here is the controls that I use a lot. This is called the Smart Tool. Smart Tool is the one that I'm going to use for pointing and dragging and moving the marker from the first measure to the second measure, etc., like this. And if I'm going to cut and paste stuff, this is for moving. This is for editing. Editing tool, number one thing I use it is for splitting. So if I record something and I want to snip off a section, I can just say, okay, I want to delete this section. You have a draw tool that's used for MIDI. I use it for MIDI when I'm placing notes. We'll see that in a little while. And you have your erase tool that you can use for erase. Normally what I do is I use the Smart Tool, highlight something, hit the delete key, and it's done. So let's record something. So we've got all this prep, we got an idea of what we can do, so we're going to record something. So you're going to have multiple tracks, and what you can do is record just one track or many tracks at a time. So we'll just record one. So now this track is ready to record, and this is the I guess the global record button. So if you had multiple tracks, then we can do that. So I'm going to start recording, test 1, 2, 3, I'm recording, I'm stopping, and now I've recorded. If I want to replay it, what I can do is I can just hit start recording, test 1, 2, 3, I'm recording, so as soon as I hit play, what you heard was what I've recorded. If I want to, and this is where I use a snip tool, if I want to snip out a portion, I can just say I've just snipped it there. I go over to my Smart Tool, click on this section, I don't want that, now I'll play it back. I start recording, test 1, 2, 3, and I've deleted that portion. Now I can highlight the whole thing, it's all gone. So basically that's how you record. It's as simple as that. And that'll end this section.